Hello, this is John with the Pink Caravan, and today I'm going to show you how to embellish a vintage little hair ornament with Swarovski crystals, and I'm using E6000 glue. And first I'll show you an idea of what I'm doing. This is another vintage hair ornament of a different style, or it's just a flower really, but it could be used in the hair or as a pin or whatever. And I covered it with the same stones I'm using right now, which are size 20 Swarovski crystals, and color is clear crystal. And I'm putting some glue on. This is my preferred method of gluing the stones. I'm putting a little bit of glue at a time because it tends to dry out fairly quickly. So I put some glue on, and I use a pin. I'm using vintage Japanese pins, but you can use any pin that has a good size for your hand. And I just want to embellish these white satin petals in between the beading. So I'm putting my stones on, and I'm using a generous amount of glue because I'm not sure if it holds as solid on this fabric as it does on what I'm used to working with, which is metal and glass and plastic. But E6000 is a very reliable adhesive, so I think that these stones will not be coming off for quite a while. And I showed this method before, but if you haven't seen my other video, what I do is I get some glue on the pin, and I roll the pin onto the back of the rhinestone. And I'm using more than I normally would, which makes more of a messy job. You can use the head of the pin to push it, and if you want to get extra glue off, you can attempt to do that with the pin, the sharp point, but this fabric isn't really letting it happen. And this is, like I said, size 20 stones, but you could use size 16, which would probably be my preference. I just ran out of those. Size 14 if you're skilled at applying rhinestones. Size 14 would be another nice choice, and you could probably put more stones on per petal. Right now it looks like it's going to be 5 per petal, which makes for an easier job. But an E6000, even if it gets semi-dried, it starts getting, it looks foggy, or starts turning white instead of clear. It'll still stick like that if you can press it on flat, press the stone flat against the material. But just put a little bit of fresh stuff out once it dries. You want to work in a well ventilated area because this glue does have a strong, probably toxic odor. So I have my door open to the outside, and that allows the air to circulate, so I'm not killing too many brain cells, hopefully. You can see I'm pushing down and positioning where I want the stones before they dry. Once they dry, you won't be able to move it. And usually the little excess glue, if you can't take it off, it'll dry clear. And the tip tends to get messy on these. You can stick your pin in there to help open it up once the glue inside the tip starts drying. But then your pin is a mess and you have to clean it off or get another one. You don't want to get any glue on the outside because it will take the sparkle away from the crystal. And once the glue gets on your finger, once it dries off, you can roll it or rub it on your table to remove the glue so that it doesn't stick to your stone when you try to position your little stone. And you can push with your finger then. This glue does dry in your hands, but it rolls off once it's completely dried or mostly dried. And that's how you can remove it. It's probably not a great idea to get a lot on your fingers, but it tends to happen when you do this kind of small stuff. And as you can see, I'm not really filling in the areas that are very hidden by the layering of the petals. I'm just going to leave those without stones in the hidden parts. Maybe I'll put some underneath the petal just in case from the side view it's visible. that petal. If you're going to use the point to push down, you want to make sure you rub the glue off completely before you do so it doesn't stick and doesn't leave glue on the top side. You can use the point sometimes to position, or you could just turn around and use the back side. Push it down. You want to push it down to make sure it's flat against, because with using a lot of glue like this, when you press the stone on, you have to put some pressure to make sure it's laying flat, because you want it to be tight against the fabric or the surface that you're going to be gluing the stones on. Otherwise the glue won't hold as well as permanent. So you make sure you push down every stone. Especially on something like this that's going to be moved around and is flexible. In fact, I've heard that E6000 isn't the best choice on stuff that's flexible, materials that are flexible. For this purpose, it's not really going to be moved that much, but if you're going to use it on like a jacket or something that, like a shawl that bends around somebody's shoulders, sometimes the E6000 will get worn out. Or it just doesn't, it's not as flexible. I don't remember the kind of glue that people usually use for those applications. Try not to smear the glue on if you do get some on, but gently wipe it off the side. Otherwise, once it smears, it really fogs up the glass and the sparkle can't shine. This one you can kind of see a little bit, but it's not too bad. And this could be enjoyable. It's kind of peaceful. It settles your mind or something to do work like this where you focus, but it's repetitive enough that it's not difficult. And it really is a pleasure to see it come to life. And when it's done, you won't see the brilliance in the video, but something about these Swarovski crystals, they really are lifelike. They add a life to your creations that's uncomparable. I mean, perhaps the only thing that is comparable is real diamonds that are cut with the same precision. That one had a lot of glue, which made it slide out of place. But the excess glue should dry pretty clear, especially on this white background. If you put too much glue, something like this that doesn't lay flat, sometimes it will very gradually slide out of place from being pulled downward at an angle. Like with this material it doesn't really happen so much, but on a smooth surface you have to keep it flat. So we're almost complete, finished with this. One more. There you have it. It changes a normal looking item into something special and unique. And if somebody wears this in their hair from far away, it will very much sparkle. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.